Well, hello, my fellow Americans and fellow Christians. Peace and freedom be unto you, and peace and freedom be unto the entire world. My fellow Americans, Christianity is in danger today. I did not realize what was taking place years ago when it was claimed that Christians were extremists. When those in high places began targeting Christian heritage and introducing Islam as compatible with Christianity, I did not know what was happening. But even going as far as stating Muslims were part of America's founding began to trouble me. And I asked myself what was going on. And then I realized that was an absolute lie. I do realize now many knew what was taking place in the Middle East concerning ISIS, and how it would affect our future, and how it would produce refugees as it is today, and an infiltration of Muslim culture into our country. So the plan was to instill, through shock journalism, the denigration of Christian power in America, and introduce the mixture of both religions in the U.S. as a prelude to multiculturalism. Now, the greatest proponent of Christianity intermingling with Islam is Rick Warren, who continued and tried to coordinate the inference to Christians that Islam is compatible with Christianity, that the acceptance of Islam is not an issue with Christian doctrine, and that it is okay with Christ. Now, the very first commandment is, "Thou shalt not have any other gods before me," or to paraphrase it, worship or accept any other religion. Christians are in danger of hellfire if they follow this philosophy. Warren is not the only preacher. There are many others embracing this false theology, including Catholic priests. I fully understand the idea of this preface infiltration. There is a design in place. The design is to infiltrate the United States with Islam, intending to claim constitutional rights of this religion, attempting to challenge Christianity as America's culture, and eventually declaring Christianity an equality with Islam, intending religious fratricidal differences in the country, thus forcing multiculturalism upon the United States as it is now prevalent in the UK and Europe. The interest here is to infiltrate Christian Western dominance and diminish its power through infiltration by the Muslim or Arab culture, which indeed it is. It is the culture of the Middle East and not that of America, and never has been. Allowing another culture to increase as a special interest will corrode American heritage, origin, and its religious foundation. Such is the design today by unseen powers, and this can lead to the end of Christian Western dominance in the world. This can bear fruit through an increase of refugees entering into the United States who are tied to the Muslim faith, ISIS, and Middle Eastern culture. For this shall give them sufficient means, if they enter in, to become a force in social issues within the country. And being an outsider gives them the right to try and change American heritage, because they do not have to count the cost being proletariat. This group can exert certain powers and pressures if it attaches itself to some form of political power, such as care. We see this today already taking place in our country. This is a real problem upon us, for the clash between the two religions leaves no middle ground. Yet, if I may, this is exactly the intended thesis of Rick Warren, making a way for a middle class of people who are content with both cultures, just happy to be part of a secured state, happy with their possessions, and the balanced collective ideal that all religions agree in one another, which is an absolute illusion. Middle-class thesis can work with politics, but not with Christianity and Islam. Both seek dominance. The difficulty with Islam is it is proving itself an extreme in the UK and Europe, and the danger is it will do the same so here in the United States, distracting the unity of the country, which is already founded upon Christian principles. Thus, the design is to denigrate Western Christianity, distract Western dominance, and eventually declare a universal order is the intended design. Now I want to get to the multi-million-dollar preachers in America. I want to state I have criticized John Hagee, Jack Van Impe, and Franklin Graham. However, these three are the only ministers speaking forcefully concerning ISIS and the intermingling of Christianity with Islam and the infiltration designed for our destruction. Yet, not a peep is spoken from any televangelist or multi-million-dollar preacher concerning this situation and trouble. Let's take a look. Now, Christian persecution is on the rise, not just on a psychological level, but on a militant level. And I can tell you, screaming and chanting, as evangelicals do, I am blessed. Or if they say they are walking in faith that they will not be moved, will not make one bit of difference concerning Christian persecution in our world today. What we need today is sound thinking, and action is required in a time. Movement, as the apostles did in the book of Acts, is what is required today. A confrontation of false teaching, errant doctrine, and conflicting religions is a requirement of our time and of all Christians. It is time Christians awaken to the realities facing our country and the world. The fantasy utopia evangelicals have been promising you will never happen, has not happened, and let me just mention to you a few things if you do not think that what they have been preaching for 30 or 40 years has not come to pass. For if you take a look at America today, it is the all-seeing prognosis of the eye that we have empty manufactured buildings, industrial complexes, decayed and unpopulated cities, buildings oxidized through time looking like a World War II photo, cracked and chaffed highways throughout the country, homeless problems, troubled youth, disgruntled middle class, impoverished education, not to mention the inability of the political leaders in our country to solve the ailments of domestic and foreign policy difficulties. The ideals and the distraction from sound thinking is absolutely evident, and we are seeing it more than ever as a fact today in our country. Denying this fact is living in a fantasy illusion. All will be well without acting or lifting a finger, which these men continue to propose. These multi-million-dollar preachers are misleading and confusing the country concerning a nation which envisions private property and security as common possessions of all citizens. If you are intelligent enough, these men use the gospel to offer incentives with no guarantee. The reduction of these men who are reckless is essential today, for they continue to foster a modern Christianity based on monetary success and not character. And this is what I have been leading up to. It is only character which shall deliver us out of our current dilemma concerning ISIS and Islam infiltration, not money. It is only men of action and character who can produce a solid Christian faith and a solid country. So, my fellow Americans, may you today follow after Christ and understand it is the patriot and tough character that is the path of our time if we are to defeat our enemies and protect our nation and secure our future. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.